So like I said, the idea would be that out of these cuts of cutting the pastor's salary by $5,000, cutting missions, which will save us about $5,000, it's a $10,000 lowering of our budget in our spending, which should allow us, and by paying off the line of credit with the expansion fund, we should be able to go back to what we want to do, which is every week when Joy does our accounting and she pays Pastor Jeff and she pays herself and she pays the bills, that we then have a savings account that is building so that quarterly when taxes come due, that money's already there and it's ready to go. It's not like, oh shoot, next month is payroll taxes and we need to borrow to pay it. What we should be doing is every time we pay Pastor Jeff, we take whatever tax money we're owed and his Social Security and all that money should be going to a separate account and sitting there and waiting for our quarterly taxes to be paid. And that's what we haven't been able to do for the last 2.5 years, basically. And so that's why, if you kind of wonder why every once in a while we're going, yep, next month we're going to have to borrow, that's why. It's because as we've been going, we've had just enough to pay Jeff or to pay the bills or to pay Joy, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we don't have $2,500 sitting there to pay our taxes. So that's kind of the roller coaster we've been on for these last few years. What we would also be, basically, and the reason we're doing this now is because we feel like come January 1st is when these changes need to take place. Our annual meeting isn't until usually towards the end of January. And so we feel like, one, we need to, if we are going to do this with our missionaries, we need to get them notice of the change as soon as possible. And then January 1st, we can implement these changes. And then at the annual meeting, we will more officially look at it as far as a budget and make sure that we have everything set up and vote on the annual budget at that time like we normally do. I think that about covers it. Is there any questions? Have I explained it well? Yes. No. I will just tell you personally, I absolutely feel like that would be wrong to ask somebody from outside our church to work here for free, to budget, and to do our accounting for us. That's my personal opinion. We did not entertain it. No. Yes, Mary. At this time, we did not discuss a bonus. What we talked about was implementing this plan for at least a year and then seeing where we're at the next annual meeting. And then if things have gone extremely well and if it is obvious that things have shifted and changed to a better direction, then we would consider restoring his salary back to what it was. Yeah. But what the idea, though, is if we have enough money to pay a bonus and we still owe money back to the expansion fund, we want to pay that expansion fund back first and make sure that we are settled there. I would also like to see in the future the church pass something in the future in our budgets at our annual meeting about us building a savings account. That is actually our rainy day fund instead of using a line of credit. So I would like to see that in the future as well, where we are actually, working towards saying, hey, we should have $2,000 to $3,000, $5,000 in a savings account for us, so that we're not going into debt when we do meet some rough terrain or some lower offerings, and some unexpected things happen. But I think that's probably in the future. Right now we need to deal with the current issues of getting ourselves back into the black on our budget on a weekly basis and then also paying off the debt and getting ourselves back to where we're healthy financially. Yep, it's fine.
Just to confirm, the goal is to set aside the taxes immediately.
Yes.
We've got a crisis on the taxes.
Right.
I just want to commend everyone. This is hard work.
Yeah.
This is not fun stuff to do. So I commend everyone involved in the process.
Thank you. Yeah.
But this is really all up to us. Because everything at the end is all up to us. And this giving, paying the taxes, getting money into the bank, it's all up to us and our giving.
Yes. Yes. That now, and again, we're not trying to say God is not faithful. We're not trying to say that God doesn't provide. The last 3 weeks, we've had really good offerings, and it's probably going to enable us to put money aside for payroll taxes that are going to be due in January, which is phenomenal, which is great. But I'm not going to go, woohoo, 3 good weeks, let's throw away 2.5 years of data. So we need to do our part to be responsible and to be good stewards, and to, if we need to make cuts, we got to make cuts, just like you do in your own budget at your own home or your own business or the way you run, your own finances. So I feel like it is important for us to say, hey, we got to make some tough choices. Hopefully they're temporary. Totally agree with you, Mary. I mean, I hope they're temporary. I hope that at some point, maybe a year and a half, a couple years down the road, we're going, wow, look at this. This is amazing. Look what God has done as we have stepped out and been faithful to say, hey, we're going to make some tough choices. I think God will meet us there. And God will go, and hopefully we're at that point. And so, yeah, Monica, you're right. It is up to us, I think. And then for us to stay in a place of prayer and humility and faith that God will meet us as we do what we're supposed to do, So, yes, I mean, we've met. We've talked with Jeff and Linda. There's, so what we want, I guess, just to wrap up, so what we're going to do is I will make sure that Jeff gets this info so he can put it in the E-line. I am sure Jim and I would both be willing to answer questions. If you want to call us, email us, text us, whatever. Cale as well. He's not here, but I know he would. Take this next week. Pray about it. Ask the Lord, if there is something in this proposal that, here's the other thing. Next week when we meet, this is one vote. We are not piecemealing this out into vote for this part of it, vote for this part of it, vote for this part of it. This is a package deal. If we vote this down next week, then the deacons will